All right, welcome back to The Hill. I'm Blake Berman. Both Donald Trump and Joe Biden facing legal issues with real political ramifications. We have learned now that there is a July 26th court date for Hunter Biden. A judge will then decide whether to accept a plea deal between the president's son and the Justice Department on tax charges and a gun charge as well. A deal Republicans claim is too lenient and they say is proof of a two-tiered legal system. Meanwhile, the trial for Trump's case over alleged mishandling of classified documents now set for August 14th, although most legal experts are expecting it to be moved much later, which means it could fall in the middle of the Republican primary contest. Over to the panel and that new information on Hunter Biden. He goes before a judge, this plea deal in about a month's time. Scott?
Called a sentencing hearing.
Yes.
And the judge is more than likely, not going to bet you an ice cream cone, but most likely will accept that plea. It was negotiated between both sides, and when both sides agree, unless the federal judge has some other concern that the parties haven't thought about, they'll go with it. On the Trump trial, the 70-day Speedy Trial Act, that's why she set that early date of August 14th. But the security clearance for the defense lawyers, they don't even have that yet. They can't even start looking at documents. To be honest with you, one of the Trump's considerations is probably internally as to whether he wants to take a quick trial or does he want to just kind of delay it and get through the primary. I think that gets more dangerous for both sides because then we'll be in uncharted territory. If he wins or if he's on trial after he wins and all of those scenarios, it's just kind of crazy to think through. But hopefully this will be resolved one way or the other, guilty or innocent, sometime before the primary start or before the general election, hopefully.
How does this factor into the primary? I mean, all we know is the date, and it's probably going to be pushed. Primary is January, February, March.
I think it's hard to factor exactly how it's going to impact. I think there's probably more indictments coming, as we're all aware, and whether the weight of that becomes something or whether it continues to rally Republicans around Donald Trump, I think is to be determined. But I'm not sure that even if they agree to the terms of the Hunter Biden plea deal, I'm not sure that that's something that's going to quell Republicans' concern about a sense of a two-tier justice system.
Well, and the Hunter Biden story is not going away because there's still so much that the House Republicans are going to try to explore as it relates to his overseas business dealings. You've now seen Bill Barr, who has not been a fan of President Trump the past few months, come out and say that the DOJ and the FBI should release, I think it's the 1023 form, and that's just getting into whether or not Joe Biden was a part of this bribery deal. Long story short, what I see here with Hunter is so many parallels and similarities between what happened when Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State. Her husband, the former president, was taking millions of dollars from foreign countries for the Clinton Foundation. Now, that Andrew McCabe struck down that investigation, so that never was fully investigated. So we don't know. We do know that Hunter Biden took foreign money. What we don't know, was it just unethical and unseemly because his father was the vice president, or was there something illegal in nature there?
Well, the Trump DOJ says it's just unseemly, but they didn't bring major charges. They investigated him for 5 years. I mean, I don't know how much more investigating you can do. There's a lot of material out there. And one thing about these political discussions, on the legal side and the investigator side, there's a ton of information that we just don't know, a ton of information they have. And in the end, you got to prove these cases beyond a reasonable doubt, or you're going to be embarrassing yourself as a federal prosecutor. So I'll follow the lead of the prosecutors in their decision making.
Hunter Biden had to plead guilty to this stuff. This was a preposterous proposal that somehow, with your father running for president, and by the way, you had made a living, millions of dollars off of selling your family name, and then you're going to tangle your dad up because you won't plead out on these tax and gun charges, these penny ante violations, and they were going to do a Second Amendment rights defense that under the Thomas decision that we have the right to have a gun. And it's like, simmer down, Hunter. You need to plead out and you need to take one for the team, and you got to take the hit here. What I want to know is,
what do you want to know?
What would happen if Donald Trump pleaded guilty? If Donald Trump cut a plea, because I certainly think that there's a deal that he could cut that would avoid prison time. He has a clean record. He has never been convicted of anything before. There are certainly some extenuating circumstances. If Donald Trump if his lawyers went to the Justice Department and said, let's make a deal. I want the same deal that Hunter Biden got. I want 2 years of supervised release, and I want diversion. If the Justice Department would go for that, would Trump take the deal?
I think it'll be snowing in Mar-a-Lago.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.